Hello and welcome everybody to MyTribe Podcast. I am so excited to be back, and we have an exciting episode for you here. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. This is going to be off the chain. I am so excited today to have an international panel, and I'm going to start with Coach Deborah, all the way from Florida, United States, Debbie and Shami from Luton, United Kingdom, and Beritha and Aayeesha from, where are you guys located?
Bedford.
Bedford, UK. Now, as some of you know, I used to live in the UK. As they talk today, I'm going to go in and out of the American accent where I live right now and the United Kingdom British accent. I might also do a Zimbabwean accent because Barrett is from Zimbabwe too, but I'm so excited. So I'm going to let the panel introduce themselves. We're going to start with Coach Deborah, and then Debbie and Shami, and then over to Beritha and Aayeesha. Over to you, Coach Deb.
Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much, Coach Meggs, for having me on. I am Coach Deborah from Build Your Best Life, and my platform came out of my purpose and passion for young men. So I work with young men, teenage to young adults, to help to show them that they can overcome obstacles and build their best lives. I believe it is very important to train early rather than to try to fix later. Also, since I work with that age group, we also bond with their mothers. And so our platform encourages mothers, especially single mothers raising sons. So again, I'm delighted to be here today.
Awesome. Thank you and welcome to the podcast. Over to you, Debbie and Shami.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Max, for inviting Shami and myself. My name is Debbie. I've actually known Max for a long time from our nurse training days. I'm a mom. I am a wife, and a mom to three kids, two boys and Shami. I'm actually a nurse, but specializing in bariatrics and obesity, which I have a tremendous passion for. And that's what I do as a hustle on the side, but I do work for the National Health Service. Shami?
Hi everyone, my name is Shami. I'm 17 and I'm currently in sixth form and I'm studying law, ethics and criminology, and after year 13 I hope to do an apprenticeship degree in real estate. Thank you.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much and welcome to MyTribe. Over to you, Beritha and Aayeesha.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Coach Max, for having us. My name is Beritha Muzondo. I'm a wife. I'm a mother to Aayeesha, my only child. I'm a teacher by profession. I also run a care business. And together with Aayeesha and two other ladies, we run an organization called Women of Valiance, VOW, which helps to empower women and support children in education. Over to Aayeesha.
Awesome.
Hi everyone. Thank you for having us, Coach Max. My name's Aayeesha. I am a daughter. I'm also a lawyer. I specialize in commercial contracts. I currently work in-house for a charitable organization who manage leisure centres and libraries across the UK. But like my mum said, we also run a charitable organization together.
Wow, we have a rich lineup today. I'm so excited. Thank you guys for taking time out. I know it's afternoon in England or evening and afternoon over here. So I'm just so excited that you took time out of your busy schedules to be here. Now we got to dive in today. It's going to be an awesome podcast. Our topic today, and you all know me, Mags. From over here in Texas. And yeah, you all know me. Okay, so our topic today is celebrating mothers. As we know, it's May. And we had Mother's Day here in the United States. I know in England, Mother's Day is in March, but we're celebrating mothers all the month of May. And I thought it would be important to talk about mothers and mother and daughter relationships, or parenting in general, because Debbie's got sons, and I know Coach Deborah has sons too. I've seen a lot of toxic parenting, and I've noticed that this affects the daughters or the sons as they grow up. And we want to kind of help the mothers that are either struggling with their mother and daughter or son relationship, and also encourage those that are doing well, like you guys. That's why we brought you on, to continue doing what you're doing. So I have a few questions, and feel free to chime in as well if there's something I missed or something you'd like to add. Okay. I'm going to start with the daughters. I'm excited to have daughters. It's the first time to have young people on here. And we're going to start with Aayeesha, if that's okay. Aayeesha, tell us about your mother and daughter relationship, what you like about it, and if there's anything that you would like to say that needs to be made better or improved, and just share with us. I always see you guys. I've known you. I've come to your events, Beritha, and your daughter will be running around and running the show. You guys work together. I remember in Cyprus, she was coordinating everything, and I just love your relationship and would love you to share. Over to you, Aayeesha.
So I'm really grateful for the relationship that I have with my mum. I think where we are now, it's easy to call her my best friend, and I can talk to her about pretty much anything. There's a great deal of transparency within our relationship, and I do feel like she's my safe space. If I'm worried about anything, I'll call my mum. Even to the silliest of decisions, I'll be like, I need to quickly do this. What do you think? I'm sure sometimes she's thinking, why are you calling me for this? But that's how safe I feel with my mum, that, you know, we have that relationship where I can just reach out about anything. And even in celebratory times, she's one of the first people I want to call. If not her, then yeah, I'll call her. So that's something I am very grateful for within our relationship. I suppose the second part of your question about what could possibly be changed or what I don't like, I think that's developed over time. And the older I've gotten, we've built more of a friendship. But I think when you're younger, it's quite difficult to be friends with your child. But I think it is important to have that safe space, because I suppose when I was a lot younger, I was a bit more scared of her. And, you know, I suppose it's a discipline thing, and there's important lessons that I've learned from that. But perhaps maybe within the younger ages, I don't know how, there could have been a little bit more of a balance to get to where we are. But I'm still grateful for all the lessons that I learned when I was a lot younger.
That is awesome. Thank you. Thank you so, so much. What has your mother done that, you know, sometimes you look at other relationships, mother and daughter relationships. Is there one thing that you appreciate your mother did well with parenting you?
Yeah, I think she tries to understand a lot. Like, we're very different in terms of personalities, but if I'm going through something or I'm explaining to her, she won't just have an opinion straight away. She'll just try and understand where I'm coming from and why that might be an issue for me. And I think that's helped us develop the relationship that we have now. So even if it might be something that she may perceive as wrong, she'll still try and understand where I'm coming from. And yeah, that really helps our relationship.
Awesome. And one last question for you, Aayeesha. In your teen years, which is usually the most difficult time between mother and daughter relationships, is there anything you found that helped you deal with your mom? You know, the mood swings when your periods started and when you just don't want to talk. What did your mom do, or how did you guys make that work?
Um, that understanding, but to add on, she always used to check in. Even sometimes when I felt like I needed space completely without pushing those boundaries, she would always find time to make sure that she understands how I'm feeling, how everything in my life is. You know, sometimes when you're going to school, you don't want to talk about everything, but she always made sure that there was a platform so that I can always be open and transparent with her. And then it made it easier as I grew up that, you know, we've always talked about everything. So now it's quite easy for me to just call her and talk about everything. So yeah, she created that space, which has obviously transcended into this part of our relationship.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Aayeesha. And I'm going to move over to Shami, 17, all the way from Luton. Shami, the same question to you.
I think my relationship with my mum is really good because I think we're quite similar people. Like our personalities are quite similar. We like to do similar things, like get our hair done and get our nails done and things. So it's really nice when we have the opportunity to go out together, just us two, to do that, because then, you know, if we're together all day, it's really nice because you can just bond with each other through like the things that we both like to do in our day-to-day time.
Awesome.
And what I think could be improved is mostly on my end, because obviously I'm still a teenager and, you know, you're still growing. And sometimes I just want to be in my room, really, just by myself. So obviously I think that I could speak to my mum more about things and be more open, not be nervous about things, because that will strengthen everything, to be honest. But yeah, it's mainly on mine because my mum does like to talk to me a lot, but I feel like sometimes if you're in a period or something, or if you had a bad day at school, you just want to be in your room alone, to be honest. But yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything that your mom has done? I mean, Debbie, don't put her in trouble after this.
No.
Just be open and honest because you're helping other mothers and their daughters. Is there anything your mom has done that you feel, mom, you could have handled that better, or on your end as well as a daughter?
I don't really think there's anything she's done bad. Like, she doesn't really criticize me or anything. Or if there is something bad on my end, she will tell me exactly what's wrong and why it's wrong and why it shouldn't be like there, what I've done wrong. And just me hearing it out instead of just, you know, shouting back as some people do, I think that really like helps build a bond, because you're not just like arguing with each other if you have different personalities. But I think us just hearing each other out is really good. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for your input. I believe a lot of young people will be helped by what you all just said. Now over to you, Coach Deborah. I know I don't have any of your children on, but it's great to have you. What would you like to share about your relationship with your children and how you made it better over the years?
Thank you. Well, I failed to say I have 3 sons and 1 daughter, and I'll go to the daughter. You know, it's having that relationship, listening to them, and that's a lot of times where you say the toxic relation comes in, that we're not good listeners as parents. We want to try to manage and tell our children this is what you need to do. But of course, the generations that we have now, they don't go so much by what you say, but they look at what you do. So you need to be a great role model. So if you want them to be great and be respectful and do the things that you want young ladies to do, then you need to be respectful as well, because they are looking to you as their model. So we have to do those type things. And if we're not comfortable in how to raise a girl or a son, that's where reading comes in. Reading is so important. You know, keep up with what's going on, because again, the generations change because
Right.
you know, Generation X and a Generation Y, they are so different. So you have to keep up with those type things.
Right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach Deborah. Now I'm going to go to the next question, where I'm going to ask all of you mothers, and we're going to start with Coach Deborah, again, how was your relationship with your mother, and how did it impact your parenting skills?
Well, excuse me, I am an only child, and my relationship with my mom, she was a stern person. She did not like talk to me as far as, telling me things that I needed to know about life. It was, you better not get pregnant. But what did that mean? So she didn't explain to me, about cycles and how that worked, or, any safe sex, anything like that. It was just, you better not. So she was very stern. And I guess she did the best that she could do. So, I was like, rigid. I was terrified of her. If she said do something, I did it. So then that impacted me as a mother because she was my only role model. So I was with my first child, which I had when I was at age 22, I was much more stern. And, because that was all I knew. But as time went on, I learned that was not the right way. You have to be open, talk with your children, let them know that you're there for them, encourage them, explain things to them. Those candid conversations, whether it is a girl or boy, you have to have those conversations so that they understand that, you can't do what you don't know. And I like to say, you don't know what you don't know. So if someone's not explaining to you, this is your body, this is how it works, this is what you need to do for hygiene, for, everything, then you don't know those things. And that's how, our kids, what we like to say, to get out and make mistakes, but they do things, life happens. But if they don't know, then they can't do anything different. So, learning, I was a work in process, and I'm glad that I learned quickly and it did not negatively impact them. I'll say my older child, maybe it impacted him a little because I was too stern with him. I was just that taskmaster. You're going to do this, you're going to do that, and that is not the way to parent. So I can't say enough that we need to listen. We need to talk to other parents. And when we don't know something, we need to ask. But
Awesome.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. That was good. And before I move on to the next mom, you are a boy mom as well. And how has that been, being a mother of boys? I know we've got daughters on today, and we're going to focus on the daughters, being Mother's Day and mothers and daughters. But how did you parent your boys? How did you learn to have a good relationship with your boys?
Well, I learned to try to be there for them. And I was very, very busy as a single mom. Excuse me. And so I was busy, but I made sure that I spent time with them and what was important for them to be there. So if they had football, I was there. If they had basketball, I was there. I was the mom that always showed up. But, letting them know that I was there, whatever was going on with them in their lives, that they could talk to me. Talk to me, regardless of whether you think you did something right or wrong or whatever. I'm going to love you unconditionally. Just like God loves us unconditionally, I love you unconditionally. I'm going to tell you when you're wrong, but I will still love you. So that was something that I did. I never upheld them in anything that they did wrong. A lot of kids, they like to run home and tell mom, well, my teacher did this and this happened. The facts and tell me the truth, because when I go on your behalf, I want all the information. So right. I never was one to say, when my child is an angel and they won't do this or they won't do that. But to be there to show them how to do things in life, with those boys, I still taught them skills, because I don't look at cooking and cleaning as female skills. I look at those, you have to partner in life.
Right.
So them all of those things. I taught them how to respect young ladies. And if I saw them disrespecting a young lady, I stepped to them right there and I talked to the young lady. You don't allow my son or anyone else to disrespect you.
That's good.
That's follow you in life. So
that's awesome.
Helped.
Thank you so much, Coach Deborah. Over to Bedford, UK. Beritha, I'm going to ask you that same question. How was your relationship with your mother, and how did it impact your parenting skills?
So my mother died when I was 13. So from the little that I remember, um, she was very strict. And I think that's what I picked up. So like what Aayeesha said, in the early years, I was very, very strict with her because that's what I could remember. To me, my mother was a mother, that strict mother with an African background where you're not friends, you don't joke around, you don't play around. She was a disciplinarian, um, and that's what I learned, and that's what I started doing when I had my daughter. And then other things I started to learn as I was growing up. So I can't say I was taught how to be a mother, but I had to learn as I was growing up, as Aayeesha was growing up, and also moving over to the UK, seeing the change in environment, the changes in how things are done in a different country. Then I adjusted my motherhood. But from what I can remember, I picked up that strict side from my mother because that's what I could remember. And that's what I thought was the right way. But the good thing that I picked up from my mother was that she was a hard worker. She instilled that in me. And I can say I'm a hard worker, and I can say Aayeesha is a hard worker as well because I passed on what I learned from my mother to her. So, yeah, there are some good things and some not bad, but not so positive things that I learned from the little time. I say little because the early stages of my life, obviously, there wasn't much that I could pick up. But
Mhm.
the times that I was growing, probably from 10 to 13, those are the things that I can remember that I picked up from my mother when she was still around.
Thank you so much. And I'm sorry about that. May your mom's soul rest in peace. And I thank God for what you said, that she taught you to be a hard worker. And on behalf of Aayeesha and all the young people, we are so glad you changed when you came to the UK, because now you have a beautiful relationship that we can all learn from. Over to Luton Dunstable, over to Debbie. I'm going to ask you the same question. How was your relationship with your mother, and how did it impact your parenting skills?
So I come from a family, a big family. We are nine, five girls and four boys. So my mom was tough. She was very militant. She only just had to look at us, and you knew what to do. There was no messing around. But as we grew older, I could see she was softening. Um, and now she's so soft. You're thinking, is this the same person we had? It's like, uh, you've changed so much. Why weren't you like that when we're young? But the relationship wise, she's a good, when we were growing up, she was a good mom. She was very hardworking. She was a nurse. She was a nurse as well. And I remember when I was writing my O levels, she would sit with me and study with me. Every single day she would do the her hours in the hospital, then come home and then sit down, open books, and start doing that with me because I was a bit slow when I was in high school. And also the other thing is, because I was slightly slow, they had a library at the hospital, so she would come back with books. Every night we would read books to get me up to speed with my reading. You're talking of a woman with 9 children in the house. She has to run the house. That's the other thing about my mom as well. The house was immaculate and food was ready. Like, how did you do it? And I tried to maintain that. Max, you would know. I tried to be that person. I was cooking, cleaning, everything, and you just wear yourself out. I couldn't measure up. But she's an amazing confidant. She does listen. She doesn't judge. She listens. And then what I've learned from her is that she takes everything to prayer. Now that I'm an adult and I'm a parent, we just used to talk, 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 and she would be quiet. Now I realize that she would go and spend a lot of time in prayer. The way it affected my parenting, for example, I used to push my children when it comes to studying because I saw my mom doing it, and so I'll say, okay, let me study with you, but I was doing it all wrong. Okay, so I was shouting and I was traumatizing the children. Especially my first son, I was, no, we have to study together. Why don't you understand it? And I was trying to, because I was trying to do what it worked with me. Why isn't it working with my son? And my daughter, actually, Shami, she refuses to absolutely study with me, right? Yeah, she won't study with me at all. I'm trying to sort of ease off, because another thing I traumatized the children is the cleanliness of the home, because everything was immaculate when we were growing up. We all had rules. You polish the floor, you make the tea before dad comes home, you do this, you do this, you do this. And I was trying to do that with the children, and I think, again, causing a little bit of trauma. One of my sons said, you only care about the cleanliness of the house. They say that in a bit of a moment, but then it hits home. So I'm a bit laid off now, aren't I, with the cleaning. And the other, I don't know. My parents never compared us at all. My mom never compared. She appreciated who we were. So out of the family of 9, I have brilliant siblings, and I don't know how God did it, but I'm not the one that's academic as academic as my other siblings. But not one day did my mom ever compare us with, oh, but why can't you do that? Look, they have this, they have that. They've got a prize. Why don't you ever get a prize? They never did that. And I don't know why, when I had my children, that was coming into me, comparing them. And I was comparing my children. But now I don't do that. I've stopped comparing, and I just let them be. Because again, I was frustrating them in, oh, look at so and so. Oh, look at so and so. Why don't you be like so and so? So I've learned taking the good from what my mom used to do, and also the best thing I think I've learned is not to overwhelm myself. I'm only human, I'm not a superwoman. God never meant me to be a superwoman. All I need to be there is to be present for my children. That's my first ministry.
Wow, that is awesome. Thank you so much, Debbie. Please mute yourself if you're not the one talking. Thank you so much. This is awesome. I was laughing when you were all talking about your mother-daughter relationships. For one, my mom was tough, a disciplinarian, like you all say. I was my dad's favorite, so my mom made sure I got disciplined because my dad wouldn't discipline me. And I remember on my mom's 60th, the people that were saying speeches, she's so soft spoken, she's a lovely elder, and I got the mic and I said, I don't know who you're all talking about. I experienced the wrath of this lady. And I remember that was on her 60th, and on her 70th, I actually was like, actually, it might be a good thing that she disciplined me so much, because look how I've turned out. So I could have been worse if she hadn't been so strict. But I think I remember her once telling me that's how she was raised. My mom was raised by her sister, and her sister was very strict and a disciplinarian. And again, like we said, she followed suit. That's what she was raised in. That's what she practiced. But over time, things have changed, and our relationship is so much better. And so is yours, all of you. Over to you, Coach Deborah. This is the next question. Coach Deborah is going to cover it, and then we're going to come to the other moms as well. What is toxic parenting and how can it be reversed? I say, how can it be reversed? Because we might have a parent on here watching and realizing, oh my goodness, what Debbie said, that's what I do. And that could be toxic or traumatic, as Debbie said. Coach Deborah, over to you.
Thank you. Well, in my opinion, what toxic parenting is first of all, we don't listen to our children. We have to listen to them. You know, a lot of times, whatever we are or we've done in life, as you've heard in previous questions, that's what we want our children to do. So, as an example, say I have a business. I'm a CPA. Then I try to drone in my kids. You know, you need to be strong in math because you're going to be a CPA. But we need to stop and listen to what they want to do. God gives us each our own skills and talents. So what he gave to me is not what he gave to them. So
Right.
we need to listen to them. You know, we want to push them off to college. Each child is different. Again, college is not for everyone. Not to say they shouldn't continue to learn and try to be better, but
Mhm.
what does that mean for them? Does that mean going into the military? We have a lot of females that go into the military. Does that mean learning a trade instead of, you know, going to college for business or, you know, science or whatever?
Right.
So what is it that they want to do? So that's one thing, is we need to listen to our children. A lot of times they have, you know, the world is so different that there are a lot of things going on. And if we don't sit and listen with both of these ears, we miss out, because a lot of times our children are crying out for help. They want to, not every parent is easy to talk with. So I'm so happy to, you know, both our parents here today, the girls feel comfortable talking with their parents, but that doesn't happen in, I'll say, the average household.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's toxic. So daughters don't want to talk to their mom. So they are going and learning on their own, doing things that they would not normally do if they had a better relationship. So again, start out listening and then learning. Read, get in a parenting group. If you're a new parent or you just, you know, I don't think I'm doing this thing right, talk to somebody. There are people out there that can help, and it doesn't, you know, mentors and coaches can help, but it doesn't have to be them. It could be a neighbor. You see your neighbor and it seems like, oh, they have such a great relationship. Get in a conversation, listen, see what's going on. But listen to your children and encourage them. A lot of times we want to be taskmasters because, of course, we want the best for our children.
Mm-hmm.
We may not have the best vehicle to show them how to get there. So we're saying, do this and do that but stop and encourage them. You know, what is it that you like to do? Well, you know, I believe that you can do it.
Right.
In the morning, encourage them. Have a wonderful day. Do the best that you can do. As long as you're doing the best that you can do, that's all that is required. You can't do more than you are capable of doing. Help them to find their strengths and make sure that those strengths are great. But we just need to have more, I'll say, candid conversations. Listen and give that positive feedback. You know, it's a way that you can say some things that you don't have to put it to them in a negative way. You can make it where it doesn't sound so negative, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't want you to date this young man, because if you, especially with dating, so you say, I don't want you to date this young man. I forbid it. So what's going to happen if you forbid it? They're going to do it anyway. So have that conversation. You know, what do you know about the young man? This is why I'm saying I don't think he's a good fit for you, you know.
Right.
And kind of explain, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Having those conversations and being close will really, really help in those toxic relationships, because you want to be close and so you can grow together, get along, and they will want to be what was it? The young lady at I don't know, at the bottom, she says, if you know the first thing, whether it's something good or bad, I want to go to my mom, let her know whether celebrating or not. And that's what you want. So I think that will benefit everyone.
Thank you, Coach Deborah. And over to you, Beritha. The question will be, how can mothers prevent toxic parenting? So from your experience, you work with women, you're a teacher, right? So I think you see the side effects of toxic parenting among the children that you teach. How do you think mothers can prevent toxic parenting?
One thing that I've realized, especially from being a teacher, like like you mentioned, some of the children that we come across are so burdened. They are carrying heavy loads. This is because, as mothers, we are putting our loads onto children. So we are not allowing our children to be children. So, for example, I know the economy is not on our side. So what we tend to do as parents is work, 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 work. And as an elder child, if they've got siblings, then they are the one that is left to look after their sibling. So that child is no longer a child. They've become a deputy parent or
Wow.
even the senior parent, because when mother comes back, she's tired. All she needs to do is to eat and sleep. So I found that we are burdening our children with responsibilities that are not theirs. So as parents, we need to make sure that we strike a balance. We need to make sure that we are allowing, as much as we want to teach our children and prepare them for the future, but we need to allow them to be children as well. There are certain things that they want to be and to do as children. We need to make sure that we are allowing them to be that person that they want to be. And then the other thing is lack of support. So from where we come from, our backgrounds, we always want our children to do better than us. Like Coach Deborah mentioned, not everybody is meant for college. There are certain things that everybody can do in their own capacity to become successful. We need to avoid instilling our opinions, instilling our views in our children, but support them in what they want to be. So talk to them, listen to them. What you want to become, they tell you. If you've got an opinion about it, you put it across as a suggestion and as an opinion, not as a fact. To say, no, you shouldn't be doing nursing because of this and that. But why do you want to do nursing? Have you explored other options? Have you
Right.
tried this? And provide more information about that thought that you want them to pick from you. And if they disagree with you, as a parent, we just need to support them. And then what I've realized as well, I go back to the working a lot of hours. So what we tend to do is to compensate being there by giving our children gifts or material things. But what we don't realize is, as much as they want those nice things, they want us. They want us more.
Yeah.
Children want their parents. They want their parents to ask them, how was your day? They want their parents to ask them, who's your friend? How are you getting on? They want to talk to their parents about the simplest of things. They want to talk to their parents about the complex things. So we need to try and avoid compensating our time by providing gifts. Because obviously, if I'm working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I'll have the money to give my daughter the money to go and buy whatever she wants.
Right.
But that's not everything. She also needs my time. So those are some of the things that I think um, lead to toxic relationship. And maybe the last thing, I know we want a a friendly relationship between, especially between mothers and daughters, but there should be boundaries. There's certain things that we can share with our children, but there's certain things that are not for them. So, because sometimes you think because we've got a friendly relationship, I can tell my child everything. But we also need to be very careful that everything that I'm telling them, is it good for their health, their mental health, and well-being as well?
That is awesome. Before we go to Bedford, to Luton and Dunstable, I'm going to give time to Coach Deborah to give us a closing remark and to talk about her book because she has another meeting to go to. So over to you, Coach Deborah. Any closing remarks to parents out there? And then let us know about your book and your podcast. I will put the link below on YouTube and on Facebook. I will put the link below to Coach Deborah, or you can reach out to me and I can give you her contact information. So over to you, Coach Deborah.
Thank you. Again, my platform is Build Your Best Life, and my niche is teenage and young adult males, showing them how they can overcome obstacles in their lives, and they will run into obstacles, whether that be at home, out in society, or things that they're going through, that they can overcome those things and build their best lives. And then we also encourage our mothers. We have in families in the United States, I know of families of children 18 and under. Most of those are being raised in a single parent home. And of those single parent homes, of course, most of those are by mothers. So we want to encourage our mothers as well. So I think that this broadcast today is so much needed. And I think you can do a part 2 to this, Coach Megs, because this was excellent, excellent, excellent. And I love the insight that everyone gave. Because again, we have to listen and teach our children. One, of course, most times we learn from our parents. And so we have to sit down and think what was not so good or what was toxic about that relationship, not carry it forward. So that's important as well. And again, I can't say listening enough that's so important. But again, my platform is Build Your Best Life, and it's based on 5 principles, which is your associations, your being self-disciplined, your goals, your having a positive mindset, and then learning financial literacy. And so I wanted to know, God gave me this purpose and passion, how I could get it out to as many young men as possible. And then I thought about putting it in a book. So this book details all of that information. I think it's very helpful not only to young men and mothers, but pastors, mentors, everyone. It can definitely help you because I try to give life, but I did give life examples, people that they can resonate with. Oh, I know who that person is. Oh, I didn't know that happened in their lives. So I think it's a good read and it would benefit those who get it. And we do 3 broadcasts each week. It's on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And I would love to have you ladies to get on. So when Coach Megs gives the information, I would love to have you and come on. So thank you so much again for having me on today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach Deborah. We definitely have to have another conversation. This topic, we've just scratched the surface. Thank you for your time today. And I will put the link for your book and your how to get hold of you. And I'll give you these ladies' contact information. Thank you. Now we're continuing over to Debbie in Bedford, United Kingdom. And I'm going to repeat the question. How can mothers prevent toxic parenting? Over to you, Debbie.
Thank you. I absolutely agree with Beritha as well. But just to continue with what she mentioned about support and education, I think that the biggest thing is that we try and live our dreams through our children. So whatever failed dreams we might have had because we had to migrate, or whatever we had to do, or because life happened, now we're trying to make our dreams, to live our dreams through our children. And because of that, we force them into even areas they're not interested in.
Mhm.
And we push and we push and we push. And sometimes we push them to the breaking point. Um, and all we want is that dream to be realized. Yes, they might end up being whatever you wanted, but they're not emotionally and mentally, they're probably not in a good space.
Mhm.
So that's number one that I think. And number two, that used to happen with me, is comparison. It's not just comparing children, because having three children, I understand so well that every child is different. Like literally, like my three children are so different, and yet they have the same mother and same father. They're all like 100 million miles apart, in differences. So comparing siblings, not only comparing them amongst themselves, but also comparing them with their relatives. So I'm obviously talking out of experience. So when you start saying, "Oh, but your friend had 7 A's," or what's wrong with you? Are you not sitting under the same teacher? What's going on? Or comparing with your cousins. Look what they're doing. Why can't you be like them? So I find that. I might be talking more. I think it's more prevalent in African homes where we're comparing, but so and so's child did this. Why can't you be like that? And I find that is quite toxic in
Yeah.
nature.
Yep.
Absolutely. And also, the fact that I agree. This is another build up from Beritha's point, that we don't listen to the children. Like they're trying to tell us something, but because I'm the parent,
Mhm.
like I'm just gonna shut you off because I am the parent. Uh, we do need to learn to sit down, because we are in a different era. We grew up in a different era. We grew up in a different environment. They're growing up in they call them Gen Zs, totally different species to what we were. So it's good to understand, to hear where they're coming from. And if I don't understand, like I like what Beritha said, make them see my viewpoint and then leave them and let them support them in their decision
Mhm. Mhm.
after hearing them out. And I think that is really important, because when we don't listen, I think the children will then look for someone else who will listen, and that
Mhm.
someone else might not be good for them. Either they go gangs, or a bad friend, or this is why people end up going into friendships or companies that are not good for them, because they're not getting the listening ear at
Yeah.
home, because they're shut down, because I'm the mom. Listen to me, I'm the mom.
Mhm.
So definitely we need to grow in listening to our children, realizing that we're from different eras with
Right.
different environments. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Debbie. And one thing that seems to be the theme or the ongoing resounding thing is communication. Communicating with your children, communicating with your daughters, sons, and understanding each other. We're coming to the end because we have so much more to unpack. I just want the daughters to think about one thing that they've learned from what they heard today and what they would like to say to the daughters. Because I'm a daughter, and you're going to have other daughters watching and listening, thinking, "Oh, I wish my mom was like Beritha and Debbie," or I wish. How can daughters going forward? How can they help their mothers? I have a friend who they just don't communicate at all. So how, having listened to all the mothers on this podcast and from your own experience, how can daughters help their mothers to heal a toxic relationship? And then I'm going to go to the mothers again to give their final words to the parents listening out there. So over to you, Aayeesha, and then Shami.
I think it's been really insightful just hearing from all the mothers in terms of what they've realized they needed to change. So I
Mhm.
think it's very important as a parent, well, as anyone, but just to be really reflective and, assess some of the things that you do. And I think all the mothers have come across very accountable in some of the mistakes that they've made, and they've made steps to change those. So yeah, I'd say that's really important. And it seems like those steps that they've made, they've improved their relationship with their children. So yeah, it's good to know that. I think it's the learning curve to know, obviously, mums make mistakes, but sometimes when you're a child, especially when you're quite young, you just think your mum should know everything. But the older you get, you appreciate that, they're probably a mother for the first time, they're your mother for the first time, they're learning as well. But it's also important for the mums to understand that, they make mistakes. They just need to find ways to change those mistakes and build a better relationship with their children.
And how can the daughter help? One, I'm going to say, is give your mother grace. Like Beritha said, and even Debbie, all of us being from Zimbabwe, our parents were strict. So how does a daughter help the mom and say, Mom, I love you still, give them grace. But how can a daughter help a strict mom to be better? Aayeesha, and then I'm coming over to you, Shami, next. Go on.
I echo that, giving mums grace, and also understanding that even though something may come across quite negative or, very strict and stern, mothers tend to have the best intention, and whatever decision they're making within that, they probably think in that space it's for your best interest. So giving them that grace that they're just trying to look out for you, and sometimes they might not always get it right, but when they do, really appreciating those times that they do.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Aayeesha. Over to you, Shami.
So I agree with what she said as well, but I feel like, how mothers are growing up with the child as well. I think that they should really hear each other out, because the mum is learning stuff as the child is growing as well. But once, the child obviously will make mistakes and the mum will correct them. But once the daughter realizes, oh, my mum's actually not against me, what she's doing is, it's going to benefit my future or what I'm doing now, I feel like it will really open both perspectives' eyes to like grow in a better relationship, because it won't just be, oh, my mum's doing this, she's doing that, she's not listening to me. It's both. You also need to think, oh, maybe I should tell my mum about this, and I don't think she's doing this right, so you can both grow with the relationship.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shami. That was really, really good. Now, closing statements from the mothers. And one thing I want to say is, have you ever said, I am sorry, or acknowledged you're wrong to your daughter? In your closing statements, can you tell us how you would encourage mothers to be better mothers? And is apologizing a thing mothers do, or it's for the children? Over to you, Beritha, and then Debbie will finish off.
Yeah, there are lots of things that we learn as we grow and as children grow. Like what Shami said, that as your child is growing, you are growing too. So yeah, there are certain things that lots of things actually that we learn. So for me, for example, sorry to a child was not my thing, because I had not come across it, and from what I knew, the parent was always right. But as we grow up together and moving into a more developed world, we realize that yes, we've got titles, mothers, daughters, but we're also human. And when you are wrong, it's good to admit that you're wrong. And when you apologize, it strengthens your relationship. Admitting to your daughter, to your son, that I am wrong here, and admitting that I don't always get it right, is a big step, and it is good for a healthy relationship. So that's something that I would like to encourage parents, that take accountability, take responsibility of your actions, and admit when you are wrong. Ask for forgiveness, it creates a very, very healthy relationship between you and your children.
That is very, very good. I remember my mom saying, well, I'm sorry. That's how I was raised. Like she said, her sister used to discipline her, and that's what she knew best how to do. But, thank God my mom getting saved and being a Christian and being around other Christian parents, she's learned over the years better parenting skills, and we have an amazing relationship. Still working at it because you can always make things better. But thank you so much, Beritha. And over to you, Debbie.
Oh, yes, I think apology is definitely a thing that us mothers need to learn to do. Not only does it make the child realize that you're also human, but then it also puts a character within the child that if they are wrong out there in the world, they should take accountability. They should take stock of their actions and be able to go back and apologize, and take responsibility for that action. In closing, I think what I would also encourage mothers to do is to stop putting demands on children that they themselves cannot carry. It's I think it was Beritha and Coach Deborah mentioned boundaries. It's good to put boundaries, but then when we overburden the child, when we put too much demands on the child, then we're just breaking them. We're there to support and be their wind beneath their wings, the wind beneath their wings, not to burden them and to drown them. Let's put boundary and be that supporting pillar that they need.
Awesome. Thank you so, so much, ladies. And all of you ladies. It's been awesome having you on here. I am looking forward to more conversations because we have just literally scratched the surface today. Beritha, would you like to tell us about your book and your upcoming events?
So I've got my book, The Little Book of Love and Hope. I wrote this book and when I was going through cancer treatment, and I published it afterwards. So this it's a book of poetry. So most of the poems are the things that I was going through physically and emotionally during that time. So although some of the things in here are mainly about the cancer treatment and the cancer journey, they apply to everyday life as well because people go through different storms in life. So I was talking about different seasons that we go through in life. And I think there's a poem for everyone in there. I also wrote about relationships, relationships with our partners, relationships with our children, supporting our children. So the book is here. People can get it on Amazon. It's The Little Book of Love and Hope, or they can get in contact with me and I can send them a signed copy. And then our event for this year, the VOW event, which we hold every year, we've just postponed it. It was supposed to be in July, but we've postponed it because of something personal that is happening in our life, and we will put out a new date. But we've got projects that we are running in the background. People can visit our website, which is www.valiantwomen.co.uk, and they can see some of the projects that we are running, and they can join in, or they can support us by sponsoring or making a donation. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. I will put the link for your book and for your websites in the comment section so people can visit. Thank you so much. And I love your events. I went to the Cyprus one. I've been to the UK ones, and I know it's going to be awesome.
Thank you. Debbie needs to come for the next one. And Shami as well. It's not just for old women, Shami. It's for young and Oh, no, not old, young and older women.
Young and mature women.
Mature, that's the right word.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We'll definitely come to another one. Over to you, Debbie and Shami.
Do you have a business?
Yes, yes. Go ahead. Tell us about what you do.
Well, Shelby doesn't have a business.
I don't know.
She's very, very talented in hair and makeup and stuff like that. She's absolutely amazing. But I do sort of I would love to be on your podcast, Max, talking about helping people how to lose weight in a healthy way, not dieting or anything like that. That is what I'm passionate about. I've just started my Instagram. It's called All Things Obesity, so I'll be putting a lot of information on there, just to support people, especially of ethnic minorities, helping people to understand that food is medicine to our bodies. So that's what I do, and I'm very passionate about it. I do a lot of conference speaking, but with work. But I'd like to move that into my secular, sort of my friend circles. I'd love to be doing that. But I have started an Instagram, so yeah.
Awesome. Do you do coaching, like
Cooking.
coaching?
That's what I want to get into.
Okay.
That's what I want to get into. We're thinking in the very near future, maybe retreats for, a well-being retreat for
That's
women,
good.
just to talk about everything, including how to even have good sleep hygiene. If you
That's
don't
good.
sleep well, you have a terrible, all of those things. Yeah, I don't want to keep going on about that, but that's what I'm passionate about. So yeah.
Awesome. And thank you so much. Thank you, Coach Deborah, Coach Debbie, and Beritha, Aayeesha, and Shami. Thank you so much. You guys just brought a lease of youngness and a breath of fresh air to the podcast today. And thank you for everything that you said. Now, thank you, viewers from all over the world. I am so excited to have had this awesome panel. Now, remember, you are not an island. Find your tribe, locate your tribe, and invest in your tribe, because life is about who you spend time with and who you're with. So God bless you, everybody. Looking forward to the next podcast, and God bless you. Bye-bye. Thank you, guys. Bye.